Okay, good morning. Welcome to this webinar on risk mitigation, cybersecurity resilience with a touch of AI. Not because we want to sound cool and everything is AI these days, but literally the two gentlemen that we're going to talk to are heavily involved in all things AI, as you will see. My name is Philip D'Souza. I am moderator for today's session, representing Aurora Systems Consulting Inc. We are a national, dare I say, global cybersecurity solutions provider, both in federal and SLED for the government, as well as in the commercial space. Today, our webinar is going to be, as I mentioned, on AI risk mitigation, and we're featuring a man who actually needs no introduction, but I will introduce him a little bit later. Angus Chen, Director of Data Science at Binary Defense. How about a quick hello and a sound check, Angus?
Hi, Philip. This is
Hi,
Angus Chen.
thank you.
How
Welcome.
are you?
And
Thank you.
I'm good, thanks, Angus. Thanks for being here. Our very own Dom Grillo, who I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes. Dom, how are you doing?
Doing well, Philip. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much. So we will be covering, all things cybersecurity in a few minutes. In terms of housekeeping, yes, this session is being recorded. So if you've got questions, comments, we've got a Q&A at the bottom and a chat for those of you that had your hands raised. So one of the good, thank you, Stephen. As happy as we are. Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, to continue, there is a $50 credit Amazon gift card, a gift of not only high perceived value, but actually of great perceived value. Unfortunately, we've missed Prime Day, but we'll be doing a drawing sometime after this event. And not sometime, sorry, the very next day. And winners do have to be present. So that's the only way we get to keep you here is to literally hopefully make this fun and pay for your attendance. So let's dive in. Mr. Angus Chen, Director of Data Science. Now, there's a long bio. It talks about you fostering a culture of trust, experience, etc. But I'm going to get down to the meat and potatoes, Angus. Are you ready? Director of
Yes,
Data
I'm ready.
Science. Um,
Yep.
DEFCON goon, as it says on your LinkedIn. Those are foreboding words, but we'll take it. So DEFCON goon, board member, part of various communities, frequent speaker, and in terms of your pedigree, so to speak, and your DNA, wide range of organizations, MITRE included, Fed Reserve, NSDA, I think, or now FINRA.
Exactly.
Couple of degrees, an MBA and a master's in applied and computational mathematics from John Hopkins. That is very impressive. And if that's not good enough, let's throw in a few more acronyms, Angus. You are certified CISSP, CCSP, and in terms of project management, a PMP. If those challenges are not enough, you climb rocks in your spare time.
Exactly. Yes. And
Wow. Okay. Welcome aboard, and thank you so much for being here. We're going to have some fun conversations, and we'll get started in a few minutes. A
thank you for the
pitch.
intro.
Thank you, Angus. And so a few more, a pitch for our sponsors. This is sponsored by Binary Defense, close partner of Aurora, about Binary Defense and what they do. And our partnership that we will be talking about in a few minutes. On to Mr. Dom Grillo. So Dom's been in and doing all things professional services. Dom, I was looking for, we know each other now for a couple of years, and we were both part of an acquisition, Aurora and Atrion, into the Plurilock family. And I've always known Dom in all things cyber and peer groups as the professional services guy, a long 20 odd years of professional services. Um, I see all your degrees, Angus, and I raise you with a BS in engineering, science, and mathematics from VTech, I believe, right?
Yep, yep.
That's pretty impressive. From the early days of doing all things IT and professional services, on now to critical services, or cyber with a dash of AI. And for fun, you design New York Times crossword puzzles and compete in Ironman.
Yeah, somehow I have enough spare time. I managed to sneak around this work life, I guess. I don't know. I don't sleep
Awesome.
much. Yeah.
Welcome. You had me at designing crossword puzzles. It's tough enough to fill one in, and that too on the New York Times, but putting one together is absolutely impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, I've cheated and I've put a little, sorry, let me point the right way, a little QR code that way. So in case you need to find me, please do connect with me on LinkedIn. That QR code looks like smaller than a grain of rice, but more importantly, this webinar is being recorded, and we will have LinkedIn um, links to everyone on the show notes. So let's move on. So I figured as we talk and I hand over the mic to you, I want to do a quick lay of the land and Angus, I'm going to talk to you. Like, what is the current state of cybersecurity in your opinion? Now, Angus, as I was saying, you were recently in China, and I can't wait to talk about this because Aurora has worked with all things DoD earlier, and the warnings were always go take a burner phone and don't connect to any of the hotspots. And so I'm anxious to learn a little more about your view on the state of the state of all things cyber. And Dom, the question is going to come over to you too, right? We've got traditional issues like ransomware and phishing attacks and all the social media uh, proliferation that's happening. Add to this the complexities of AI that both the good guys and the bad guys are using. So, what do you, Angus, in your view, look at or give us a summary of the state of affairs with cybersecurity and a focus on AI, please?
Sure. Yeah. Before we start, I would like to talk a little bit about binary defense, and as well as some AI histories briefly. So, binary defense, founded by uh, Dave Kennedy, and it's Dave has give such a great culture, and we have a world-class staffs putting together by our executive teams, and our product and services are being recognized by Forrester as well as Gartner. And we also have a great partnership with Aurora. As Philip mentioned, we have strong, solid relationship with our vendors as well. Um, I have met with CISOs and conduct surveys with executives on AI in both private and public sectors. And the first question I ask them is, what is AI? And the answer I've gotten is there's no common lexicon of AI. So let me start with a lexicon in a little bit of AI history. AI is a technology that enables computer and machines to simulate human intelligence and problem-solving capability. And it all starts in 1956. In the grant proposals to Rockefeller Foundation, the term was used for the first time. And John McCarthy invited the 10 best mathematicians in the world to the Dartmouth summer school. And the goal is to build a system as intelligent as human. Among 10 smartest fellow in the world, there's one guy, super important. So that grant was approved, 10 fellows shows up. They get together, try to tackle this hardest problem ever in the world. And there's a one guy, the smartest person among the smartest 10 mathematicians there, and helping to put the foundations, to build the foundations of AI. And his name, he's also important in information systems as well as information theories and cybersecurity. And he's the father of information theory, and he's founding father of modern cryptography. And his name is Klaus Shannon. And the reason I mention that is AI, like Philip says, it's in everybody's DNA. If you are in IT, if you're in cybersecurity, if you're in AI, it's part of our DNAs here. So if I think of AI, it's like a big pie. We have machine learnings within the big pie, deep learnings within machine learning, data science within deep learning. So AI can be used in cybersecurity, for example, intrusion detection, malware classification, spam detection, and UBA. We call that UBA, that's user behavior analysis. So that's a gist of AI that's being used in cybersecurity. So now comes to the current state that the AI that I have observed in the world. How did this come about? So we are experiencing this revolution, the same as electricity, automobiles, and steam engines. Those are the elements of those are the industrial revolutions in human histories. And what are the elements of those revolutions? It has to be pervasive. Everybody can use it, and this improvement greatly improve everybody's life, and it's innovative. It's ever been done before. In addition to that, we have technologies such as cloud computing power and human and people who are coming out of STEM education, and that also lower the barrier of entries so everybody can get in, and that speed out the process of AI. Going back to what you were asking, what I have seen in China, when I was arrived in China, Shanghai, China. Shanghai is a tier 1 world-class city, one of the best places to do business. As I arrived at midnight at the hotel, I saw a robot zoom across the lobby to deliver food items to the hotel rooms. So AI here is plays a role to help, those are the graveyard shift that nobody wants to take. So AI is here to help us to fill the gaps that human doesn't want to do or assist the human. So at the lobby, there's only one host with robot's help to deliver the items to the hotel room. And I also visit 3 companies. One is Alibaba Freshippo, I'm sorry. So they are using AI for ordering process. Any delivery, they can be done within 30 minutes, arrive at your door. Typically, young professionals like it. They order it as they head out of the office, and the items is at the door within 30 minutes, even before they arrive home. So the AI plays a role there. And the other company I visit, it's called Neo, N-I-O, Neo. In China, there was about 500 electric vehicle manufacturers just a couple years ago, now down to 40. And it's fierce competitions trying to be the best EV manufacturers in the world. And NIO, what Neo has done this year is to deliver this 5 nanometer processor. 5 nanometer is like billionth of a meter. And that chips contains 5 billion transistors. When I talk about billions, numbers in billions, I always think in terms of the human brains. Human brains has neurons and is somewhere around 86 billion neurons in,
So,
in, in, in the head.
Angus, so that, overall, as I bring this conversation to cybersecurity specifically, if I may summarize, your the nomenclature that you talked about AI, and you gave us a terrific focus from the 1950s. If I may, for our attendees, man's eternal quest has been to make animals and machines human-like, right? Every time
Right.
you give the dog a little treat and you tell it to jump, and we're still impressed, right? The dog will be a pet in the household for 15 years. We're still there giving it a little treat and saying roll over or beg or put a paw. And that goes to our need to make things around us human-like. So that's a great summary on things that are AI and the movement of AI. Can you talk specifically to cybersecurity in about, I'm sorry, maybe a minute or two before I hand it over to Dom? I asked about your visit to China because I'm intrigued, right? Yeah, you are back and forth, you travel the world. China is, in your views, a safer environment.
Mhm.
Yet there's all these security concerns, including TikTok and, of course, the world of, international espionage. Everything else will keep going on. And that's the reason I asked for your specific opinion as a reputed data scientist in China. I thought that was invaluable. Christina, sorry, I'm sorry, Christian says, look, my concern is cybersecurity. So can you comment on the lay of the land from your view on cybersecurity in about 30 seconds to a minute, please?
Sure. My view of cybersecurity, based on the threat intelligence and reports I'm getting, the number one concern is deepfake. A deepfake is a synthetic image, media, voice, text, or the combination of all. And the threat actors, they use that for phishing attack or so-called the BEC, the business emails compromise, to various tactics to try to penetrate our IT systems as well as OT systems in order to gain access to valuable assets.
Okay. So, and we will come back to this in our second section, which is remediation. But deep fakes is something that you put front and center in terms of AI risk mitigation. Thank you. Dom, over to you. So the question at hand is, how do things look like to you? So Binary Defense is one of our reputed partners. They purvey all things cybersecurity in terms of vendor solutions. You have two things as you roll up your sleeves on the ground. We are the face for cyber solutions. So we've got our customers coming to us. You've got firsthand notice from our customers saying, hey, Dom, go fix this. I've got this problem. I'm down or got this issue. What are you seeing generally in terms of cybersecurity trends? And of course, how is it influenced by AI? So that's a two-part question, please.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'd say kind of building on to Angus's idea, I think, data privacy is the other risk, around AI usage, which is it's different in that like the deep fake issue, that's an intentional threat actor doing something bad. The privacy issues come about possibly unintentionally, and a lot of it's because customers have a drive, and companies have a drive to be able to leverage AI to simplify what they're doing. So, I mean, just this week, I had a few different conversations with customers where AI is front and center. I mean, it's top of mind for a lot of people, but it's being able to leverage it for things like, one of the conversations I had was the customer, global Fortune 500 company, 8 data centers, lots of locations, lots of firewalls where the rules have been changed over and over again by many different people over a long period of time, and probably aren't quite sanitized the way they should. should be. So there's a lot of wide open rules that are not really in a good place from a hygiene standpoint. What they want to do is be able to take AI and say, well, I've got all these firewalls, I've got central management tools, I've got change management tools, I've got endpoint security tools, I've got SIMs. How can I take all of this data and do something intelligent with it using some sort of AI platform so that I can figure out, hey, I should be able to get rid of these rules or consolidate these rules or narrow down the scope of them down to just a specific set of IPs or ports without having a whole lot of human analysts sitting there staring at it and pouring through logs themselves. So trying to use AI to solve problems, solve technology problems. Because one of the things that's not going away is the shortage of people. Like we don't want AI necessarily to replace people. The challenge more so is that there aren't enough people in cybersecurity for everybody to hire. So if we can supplement the humans that we have with an AI, that's a win-win because we can now hope possibly offload some of that kind of manual data, management tasks. So I'd say probably what's really got to happen though is, I mean, it's going to have to start with a plan. Like a customer's got to be able to look at, all right, well, these are some objectives I think I would like to solve from a business standpoint.
Right.
Here's what my security concerns are. Here's what my risk tolerance is. And I'd like to be able to build a plan to say, if I want to use AI, how do I do it? How do I make sure my data is not getting leaked in an ineffective fashion? Am I giving controls to somebody I shouldn't? We need to plan. And so what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of opportunities for us as a obviously as an AI based cybersecurity company for consulting engagements, really coming in and helping develop that plan and build out a kind of a methodology for here's how we think that AI could be potentially delivered. Here's some of the risks you might have to consider. Here's some different applications that may be available to you off the shelf. Here's some things we can do from a custom development standpoint. So there's a lot of considerations that go into an AI solution and a lot of potential opportunities as well.
And this in addition to your day-to-day bread and butter work of ransomware and phishing attacks and everything else, you've now got to step up and deal with deepfakes and AI-related risk mitigation. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
And
And
yeah.
sorry, not good, but thank you for sharing that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a well-energized group. I see your questions in your notes, and specifically to Johnson Nickel, yes, we are about to enter the remediation phase. Your question is, how does one guide against it? What's the answer? I promise we will be coming to it. We had asked a question at the beginning of this first segment about your status about all things cybersecurity and AI. Let's look at the laundry risk, right? Laundry list of things that we have to deal with, and I'm going to be brave and put myself in Dom's shoes, just for a brief moment. I have no intention of doing anything with the New York CrossFit puzzle. So here we go. Malware and viruses, right? This is every day. Ransomware attacks, unfortunately, becoming a day-to-day thing, and it's up there. It's like, look, you've got to deal with ransomware attacks. It's part of bread and butter things to be dealt with in your role as a cybersecurity avenger. So malware, viruses, ransomware attacks, network intrusions, zero-day exploits, and I'm going to throw in APTs as things that we deal with regularly. There's phishing, there's social engineering that's now gone to the next level. Dom, you might not know this, but this morning, our controller asks me, hey, can you just confirm that this $32,000 expense is approved before I put it into the accounting system for payment? And both of us know that she is of great credibility, has been doing a job for a number of years and gets it, right? But
Right.
the attack was brilliant, Dom. Below that is an actual thread between me and a CEO of this marketing company. It's a conversation between me and him that we've never had, that says, hey, Philip, here's a proposal, and a reply from me saying, yes, great proposal, John Doe. Can you please correct this? And then he replies, here's the second version. If you approve it, can I send it over to finance? And he sends it over to finance. Amazing, right? So these attacks are getting more and more sophisticated. And with the hit of a button, AI is able to create threads of conversations. And I'm hoping I've saved a few CFOs and their money with this conversation, that we're now at the next level of risk mitigation. So phishing, social media attacks. Chen, I'm still asking the question. With the work from anywhere, we've got to worry about unauthorized access. We've got to worry about insider threats that could be anywhere in the world, and compliance, GRC, if that's not enough. Data exfiltration with AI is now voluntary. So teams and hordes of employees are now going to ChatGPT and putting data up there voluntarily to try to get answers, right? So the question is, in your mind, can you give us a top three in terms of risk mitigation? This is a specific question by the attendees today. What do I do? What's the answer?
Do I go first? We're done.
Please, Angus,
Oh,
you go
sure, yeah.
first. Yeah.
So at the top of my list, first one is employee training and awareness. Let's start from the basic hygiene, VPN, MFA, something you have, something you know, and something you are. Um, Definitely VPA, secure channels for communication, and also on the if you're in-house developers, for example, cross-site scripting, XSS, can be found on the website and front end. So as a developer, we should sanitize user input using secure code practice, following by OWASPs, as well as implementing content security policy headers. When you go to the website, you see the code, you see the content security policy on the very top. As well as if you're a decision maker, you should join ISAC for threat information sharing. That that you can quickly have a good view of what's going on within your sector. For example, financial services ISAC. And one thing I also noticed that governments are particularly diligent about employee training and awareness. For example, NIH, they constantly setting out phishing email just to test if their government employees will click on it. And if any inbound email that embedded with URL, it will goes to so-called state link for a wrapper, basically, for further examination. If it's malicious, it will be removed. So my first one is employee training and awareness. The second one goes back to what Dan was talking about, data security and privacy control. Data security. We should always implement strong data encryptions in transit, at rest, as well as in use. Segment your environments and adopt a normalization techniques. And also, follow the global data protection regulations as Philip mentioned, like GDPR, CCPA. My third things will be continuous monitoring and vulnerability management. Continuous monitoring, it takes time. You take step. Typically, if you have a shop set out, you take 8 to 10 employees, as well as the tools. That's when MDR managed detection and response can help it with. And as I mentioned earlier, MDR also covers threat intelligence. They provided reports. We have a stats of what's the number of business email that's compromised. It's increasing drastically from 2022 to now. We had 4,154% increase over the years. Now we are looking at over 1 million business email compromise.
Wow.
And that number is stunning.
So stop for that for a moment, Angus, because we're always reporting the negative stuff, right? We're reporting all the breakthroughs, and we're reporting all the items where the bad guys have been successful. You just quoted a number of attacks prevented, right? What are we up against? So talk a little more about all the saves, right? All the stuff that, again, thank you for talking about binary defenses, MDR solution. Earlier, you alluded to user behavior, your UBA, and we're going to now delve into privacy. But what is the good work that we've done so far in thwarting attempts from the bad guys?
Uh, we have uh, we have strong threat hunting teams. We work collaboratively with companies. We have excellent threat intelligence. They provide reports as needed. For example, right, I literally just got two reports this morning related with AI. We have a stealth detection engineering teams that constantly updating our rules to identify either benign, malicious, I'm sorry, malware either is benign or malicious. We also have 24/7 SOC teams that work around the clock to make sure that your environment's safe.
Amazing. Very impressive. I'm going to come back to you. I've got a bonus question that was not on the script, but as soon as I talk to Dom, I want to know what, I'm curious, Angus, what a day in your life looks like. But give me a minute. I'm prepping you for the next question. So Dom, again, the question to you is everyone wants to know what the answer is. In our job today, we touch it, we own it, right? I mean, it's the story of our life. Anything IT related, from the network to infrastructure to everything that we're doing in cybersecurity. And thanks to work from anywhere, our job just got a lot harder, right? Because our insider could be sitting in East Asia, could be sitting in Eastern Europe, or actually does sit there. And these global fences are now irrelevant because our insider and the concept of an insider threat is open ocean technically, and you've got to protect organizations and clients of yours against a threat that really could be anywhere. And if I may, Dom, as you come back to me with an answer of, hey, these are the top three things that you should do, I'm going to add data privacy to it. Right. So there's AI that wants to gobble up large volumes of data, and there's data privacy that says don't do anything, right? Don't let anyone touch all your data. So these are two forces up against each other. What does a day in your life look like? What are you recommending to CISOs and CTOs about risk mitigation and cyber resilience? If there's nothing else, what's your top three?
I mean, and I'd say kind of almost building off of where Angus left off. I mean, visibility is very key. You can't just bury your head in the sand and, hope that you're not going to have a security incident or a risk. You need to have regular visibility into what's going on, where people are, what kind of data people are accessing, who has access to it, what level of access they have. So having controls around, what they have access to is important, but you need to also know what it is they're doing. So that visibility. So whether it's like an EDR type platform or an MDR type platform, or even like in binary defenses case where they're leveraging both MDR and some SIM capabilities. You need to have the understanding of what's going on, and that doesn't matter whether you're a large organization or a small organization. And so, yeah, if you're a large organization, great, you might be able to hire a whole team of SOC analysts and do it all in house. But most companies can't do that. They need to have some sort of managed security solution to help provide that offering. And one thing that's kind of interesting too, I heard another customer recently asking who they actually have a third party managed security provider, and they do have some of their own security analysts in house to help kind of triage. But they still can't hire enough security analysts even just for that aspect. And they've actually asked me, like, is there a tool or is there a way I can even leverage AI to limit how much my analysts have to do? So if I can take the 90% of the easy things off our plate by like leveraging some sort of AI tool, and the remaining 10% can be focused on by my team, that's really valuable too. So I'd say like getting that visibility and gaining uh, access to what's going on is really, really important.
Thank you. And I see a bunch of comments coming into the the hosts and panelists, and everyone's talking about thank you for putting this together. I've learned a lot today. We've got a few questions coming up, but here's dessert for you, ladies and gentlemen. And there are about 50 of us on this webinar today. So Angus Kitchen, allow us, to walk with the big guys here. What does a day in the life of a data scientist who travels the world look like?
Uh, Great question. Um, so I spend as a director of data science, I spend a lot of time in communication, build trust to understand my internal as well as external customers' need. I need to make sure that our SOC team that has the tools to fight the bad guys. I need to make sure that my detection engineer can lower the false positives. I also need to make sure that what I'm doing is aligned with the business. And every day I'm also getting the intel report that's providing me a wealth of information. In addition to that, I'm engaging with at the conference, giving keynotes, participate in the community. I believe that building a community, as I mentioned earlier, like ISAC, that everybody share information or threat intel that will help us move forward as a community.
And thank you, right? This is a huge job. Not only you talking forward facing, but you're also doing a roadmap for the engineers at Binary Defense. And I like it. It's summed up by reducing the false positives. And we've got a couple of questions coming in. Dom, I'm going to start with you, please, if you don't mind. Again, this is AI related specifically. For Aurora, if I may take the easier part of that question with your permission, Dom, what's our answer to AI? We're saying, look, let's first educate, right? Let's talk about it. Let's spread the word. And this is not a monster under the bed. Where you, Dom, I'm offering you to the masses, are happy to talk to organizations, to teams, to employees about AI risk mitigation. When we finish this recording, our show notes will have a link to resources that you can take back to your organizations and your teams, and we urge you to do that. We're happy to connect you with uh, governance, regulation, and compliance, which is the second part of this three-legged stool. Both the White House, the executive branch, and Congress are coming up with AI risk mitigation frameworks, et cetera, to put governance and control. And last but not least, the fun part, the more Terminator-like part, we're using the machines to fight the machines, right? Binary Defense and vendors, leading vendors like Binary Defense, are adding an AI component to their tools so that we can mitigate on the fly. So given the fact that that's a three-legged stool of education, governance, and using machines to fight machines, Dom, the question is, what are some of the practical steps companies should take to integrate AI risk mitigation strategies?
I mean, obviously, you need to, understand your own organization's security framework. So, a lot of times it starts with some sort of regulatory compliance, whether you're, complying with a GDPR or NIST or whatever it may be. And then it's going to be making sure you have buy-in, obviously, from the top down to that. It can't be just like, the firewall engineer, saying, hey, we've got some threats out here. You need security leadership in the organization to kind of rip it and being willing to own uh, to own cybersecurity and AI risks and make sure that they're actually protecting against them as much as possible. And again, make sure you're educating yourself. You can't either one jump into AI technologies and say, hey, we're going full bore and we're going to use these things because we realize we can develop proposals and RFPs faster if we use AI instead of people. You need to at least, take a measured approach, make sure that you understand, what it is you're getting into, but at the same time, don't be like afraid of it. Like you have to just educate yourself, like you said, understand what those risks are, align them against whatever standards are appropriate for your organization, and kind of develop basically a strategy around how it is you can leverage AI and potentially other solutions to kind of develop a solution that makes sense for you.
Yeah,
Well
down
said.
the down definitely is spot on. For example, when we build AI models and binaries, we start from something small and low-hanging fruit, and he just hit the target in terms of firewalls because those are numbers. Models, algorithms are good with numbers. We could, of course, we could also work on data that was text by using different encoding algorithms or methods. Although that take computing power as well as time to do it. One thing's down the touch related to AI risk, for example, data poisoning. Um, when I'm building a model, one thing I'm always concerning about is the potential of malicious data injected into my training data sets. So I will definitely go through my CISO as well as my CTO in making sure that I'm following the best practices, as Don mentioned earlier, in order to make sure I have the a model that without contamination.
Thank you. So a few quick questions that I'm going to just knock off because they're easy, and then we'll come on to an interesting question for you, Angus, that's on business email compromise. However, to Ardale Sarvar, who says, can AI help to prevent cybercrime? 100%. Most vendors are now incorporating AI to be able to monitor trends, look at patterns, and it's not perfect. We're still in the nascency of this business, but the short answer is not only can AI help, it is. And to Stephen Jason, congratulations. He just got into cybersecurity, would love to make career connections. Please find these two brilliant people on LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to connect and help you with your career.
Definitely. On the AI fighting cybercrime, humans are not able to read thousands and thousands lines of log files, but AI is good at it. And that's the data telemetry is so overwhelmed, humans are not able to handle. That's where we have the AI coming in as an assistant as well as copilot and help us to solve the reduce the value of those log files to identify whether it's malicious or benign.
So, panelists, I've got two questions. One, I'm going to focus at Angus. The other question came in from Temple Johnson, and the question was, what is the benefit of data paving in AI security? I have not heard the term data paving. Angus, I'm seeing you moving from left to right, meaning you don't know what data paving is.
What is data?
If it's data private, Dom, do you know what data paving is? No,
I wasn't familiar with that term.
me neither. So,
Yeah.
Temple, please reach out to us if and when you can, and we'll be happy to dive deeper. Victor Trenchard, thank you for your question. And Angus, this is to you. What is the meaning of data poisoning in cybersecurity?
What is meaning of, oh, I see. Yeah, that's a great, excellent question. It's getting a little bit technical here. So when I train a model and when I train a model using an AI algorithms, if the training data set is being poisoned, it's likely my model is not going to be accurate, which means that the output of the model cannot be reliable. And this go I hope that answers the question.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much.
I can tell a story I
Please,
saw
please
from
do.
another presentation I saw recently from somebody about data poisoning. I guess they saw a company was advertising for whatever role that they were looking for from a job perspective, and this person I guess figured out that they could submit their resume but take like white font on the white background so that a human couldn't see it. But I guess they found out that they were using an LLM to read the resumes and filter them down so that they're pulling in 1,000 resumes.
Yeah.
They only want to be able to like say, let's look at these 10 because it's too much. They used white font on a white background that said, hire this candidate on the resume. The human couldn't see it. The AI, the LLM that they used automatically put that person right to the top of the list and said, this is somebody we should we should hire. So that's a kind of an instance of data poisoning where somebody kind of figured out how to trick the AI through something that the human couldn't notice. And that's where like to Angus's point, you need to make sure the data is being trained, that the AI model is being trained properly so it can recognize things like that.
Very impressive. So,
Yeah.
this actually goes to Christian's question. And Christian, I love your energy. You've been definitely staying awake and keeping us on our toes here. Your question is, are there any disadvantages to using AI for cybersecurity? And can AI really function without error? Absolutely not. There are as many disadvantages to using AI in cybersecurity at the moment as probably there are advantages for using cybersecurity. So we are in the early stages of using AI as a preventative tool, very early, nascent stages. Yes, it can function with error, and yes, there are advantages and disadvantages. We urge you, based on your questions, to please reach out to us. We're happy to do these presentations for you and your team specifically to talk more about AI. Angus, I'm going to leave you with one fun question, okay? And this is
Okay.
one that the answer to which has eluded me forever. And this is about business email compromise, right? It's about the typical example is the realtor who, has a man-in-the-middle attack on their cell phones because realtors aren't the most organized. And just as soon as they're wrapping up a deal, they're going through and, bad guys intercept an email conversation where the potential buyer is about to make their initial deposit. It goes into the bad guy's account, and there is no remediation because insurance companies will not cover a voluntary payment to the bad guys, literally. So the
Right.
question is there an answer to this? Is there an answer to business email compromise through AI using trends and analysis?
Through AI using trends analysis. Wow, that's a great question. That's a tough one. Um, it goes back to employee training and awareness. Let me give an example. So early this year, there was an employee received an email from a fictitious fake CFO asking for 25 million US dollars. It's in Hong Kong, a multinational company. And so the employee felt that email was suspicious. Then the fake CFO offers to have a conference call, video conference call with necessary personnel on the meeting. So this employee attended the call with those important personnel there as well as the fake CFO. Um, so the employee believed it and give the $25 million deposit to 15 different banks account. Um, how did that happen? So the bad guy used pre-recorded meeting and then mixed with a deepfake to create the image of CFO. So that's almost like a real conference call meeting. So that's how the employee fall into it. So what can we do? You could look for a few things. For example, the eyes. If the eyes is not the eye of bad guys, were I mean the deepfake is not looking at you, as well as the background image, the lightings, and the movements and so forth. You can still see there's differences in terms of the fake or synthetic figures versus the actual people.
Excellent. Dom, again, beware of the last question. This is 5 o'clock. We're in the parking lot and the phone rings, right? But I'm going to throw it to you anyway. Quickly for Lucy, major tools that can be used in AI security.
Ooh, yeah, that's a bit of a loaded question. Obviously, there's a lot of different tools out there. I mean, there's certainly, if you're doing things like developing your own solution sets, there's a lot of like application security platforms that can scan code and make sure that you're um, not unintentionally giving away data that you shouldn't. Obviously, there's plenty of tools similar to like a binary defense that can provide you like the visibility and MDR capabilities. I mean, there's lot of tools that can help you with things like the business email compromise and stuff, where a lot of the vendors do, like you mentioned, leverage AI to help recognize domain lookalikes and other things. So there's a plenty of stuff out there, and it's only going to get it's only going to get better over time. I mean, the vendors that are making AI security platforms are going to continue improving. They're going to continue building on their data models, and just like, of course, it's a cat and mouse game. The bad guys are going to continue improving their methods. The good guys are going to continue improving their defense mechanisms.
So thank you very much. And we still have a bunch of questions coming in. We will get these answered. We'll reach out to you directly because we are running out of time, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate the energy. The chat has been going nonstop. The Q&A has been going nonstop. We sincerely apologize. Actually, we're kind of happy that we've had more questions to answer than we can possibly get to. The hour has been fun. To remind you that Aurora is a solution provider in the cybersecurity and AI space. We've got 6 AI patents, especially on risk mitigation. So do reach out to us. We're proud to walk shoulder to shoulder with the likes of Angus Chen and Binary Defense. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here. Yes, absolutely. Just your presence here has entered you into the random drawing, and you should be hearing from us by tomorrow. This was a great event. Dom, any last words?
No, I say thanks to everyone that attended, and feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help, and we've got a lot of qualified cybersecurity specialists on the team. We've got data scientists on the team, so we're here to help you build out your strategy, implement a solution, design it however you'd like.
Excellent. Angus, bring it home.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for these opportunities. And we have such great turnout. The message is there, build a community, get the right tools to defend your places. And Aurora, as well as Binary Defense, are there to help you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Excellent. I am proud to be able to moderate a webinar with a panel discussion with the two of you gentlemen. And Melvin, thank you for the support in the background in terms of putting the production together. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. This recorded webinar will be sent to you by email. We appreciate you being here. If you have any questions, comments, kudos, or complaints, reach out to us on LinkedIn or social media. You should be able to find us. Thank you again for joining us today, and until the next one, goodbye.